Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the corporate world one filing at a time. And today we're diving into something that could make or break a water company's future. So grab your water bottles because this is going to be a splashy one. Also, before we get into the details, a quick heads up. If you like getting these unfiltered insights from official company documents, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hey, we've built a fantastic community over on Discord where we break down these filings even further. So check out the link in the description below to join us. Alright, let's get straight to it. We're relooking at a report from Global Water Resources Incorporated, filed on the 16th of October 2025. Now this is your typical quarterly financial report filled with numbers about sales and profits. No, this filing is all about something much more fundamental to a utility company, their rates. So picture this: two of Global Water Resources subsidiaries, GW Santa Cruz and GW Palo Verde, went to the Arizona Corporation Commission, or ACC for short, back on the 5th of March of this year, asking for permission to raise their prices. They submitted all their paperwork, basically saying, we need more money to keep the water flowing. If the ACC said yes to their initial request, it would mean a pretty significant jump in what customers pay. We were talking about a net annual revenue increase of about $6.5 million for the company, and for you and me, the folks paying the water bills, that would mean an almost 11% increase in our monthly bills. The company was hoping for an adjusted rate base, which is basically the value of the assets the company can earn a return on, of around $164.6 million. Now here is where things get interesting, and frankly a bit tense. Fast forward to the 1st of October of 2025, and the ACC's own staff, let's call them the ACC staff, along with a group that represents you and me, the residential utility ratepayers, known as RUCO, they both filed their official opinions. And guess what? Their opinions were pretty different from what Global Water Resources wanted. The ACC staff, who are supposed to act as a neutral party looking out for the public interest, actually recommended a decrease in the company's annual revenue. We were talking a drop of about $7.1 million, and their proposed rate base a much lower $78.7 million. That is a huge swing from what the company asked for. On the other hand, RUCO, the consumer watchdog group, is recommending a smaller increase than the company, about $3 million in net annual revenue, with a rate base closer to the company's request at $156.6 million. So you have the company wanting to hike prices significantly, the consumer group wanting a smaller hike, and the government staff actually suggesting a price cut. That is a real battle brewing. The ACC staff explained their reasoning, mentioning some fancy terms like post-test year plant. Basically, it means they're looking at new equipment or upgrades that the company plans to make after the period they're currently evaluating for rates, and they're making adjustments based on that. They even asked the company to send them more updated information on this right up until the end of the year so they can refine their numbers. This shows there is still a lot of back and forth happening. And what did Global Water Resources do after hearing these less than ideal recommendations? They didn't just throw their hands up. They immediately started talking to the ACC staff. In fact, just a couple of days before this report was filed, on the 14th of October, they had discussions. And the really important part is they agreed to start talking about a settlement, a compromise, as early as the week of the 20th of October. This suggests the company is ready to negotiate and doesn't necessarily expect to get everything they initially asked for. This is over yet though. There is a whole schedule of more papers to be filed and debated. Think of it like a legal process. The company gets to file their response, called rebuttal testimony, on the 6th of November. Then the AC staff and RUCO get to respond to that, and then there is even more back and forth. After all the paperwork, there is a hearing scheduled for the 15th of December. An administrative law judge, who is like a judge for these regulatory cases, will then make a recommendation, and then the actual ACC members will vote. The company's plan is to use all these upcoming steps, the rebuttal, surrebuttal, and rejoinder, to try and smooth out the differences between what they originally asked for and what the ACC staff and RUCO are now recommending. It is all about finding common ground. Now this next part is crucial and quite blunt. The report explicitly states that if the ACC ends up adopting recommendations that are unfavourable to Global Water Resources, meaning they go with the lower rate suggested or even lower than that, it could really hurt the company's financial health, its profits, and how much cash it has coming in and going out. This isn't just a minor disagreement, it is a potential threat to their bottom line, and they are very clear that there are no guarantees. They might not be able to fix the disagreements. They also can't predict what the ACC will eventually decide. This highlights the uncertainty hanging over the company right now. The outcome of this rate case is a big question mark. Before we wrap up, the report includes a standard cautionary note regarding forward-looking statements. This is essentially them saying that anything in this report about the future, like expected outcomes of this rate case, or when things might happen, are just educated guesses. They could be wrong because of all sorts of things they can't control. They're basically telling investors not to bet their life savings on these future predictions. They are not obligated to update these statements if things change, unless the law requires it. So, what is the big picture here? Global Water Resources is in a tough negotiation with regulators. They want to raise rates to boost their income, but the official review process is pushing back hard, with the ACC staff even suggesting revenue cuts. This isn't just about a few extra dollars on a bill. It is about the fundamental profitability and financial stability of the company's operations in Arizona. We'll have to watch closely to see if they can reach a settlement, or if a less favorable decision from the ACC will impact their future. Looking at this situation, Global Water Resources is facing a significant challenge. Their core business, providing water, relies on regulatory approval for their pricing. The huge discrepancy between their requested revenue increase and the ACC staff's recommendation signals a potential disconnect in how the company values its operations versus how the regulators see public interest and affordability. While Ruco's recommendation is closer to the company's, the ACC staff's more aggressive stance could set a challenging tone for negotiations. The company's willingness to engage in settlement talks shows a pragmatic approach, recognizing that a mutually agreed, upon rate even if less than initially desired, might be better than a potentially damaging imposed decision. The risk here is significant. A substantial rate reduction would directly impact their ability to fund infrastructure, maintain service quality, and ultimately their profitability. On the flip side, if they manage to secure a more favorable outcome, it would validate their service model and provide a needed boost. However, the current posture of the ACC staff suggests a strong push for consumer affordability, which could be a headwind for future growth. Alright, that is our breakdown of Global Water Resources' latest filing. What is your take on these rate case developments and what they could mean for the company and its customers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this deep dive was helpful, please hit that like button, it really helps us out, and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.